Hey guys, what's up? Um, I know you guys don't see me do videos like this a lot. That's partially because it's hard to make videos in general. uh, like in the next room right now, my daughter is asleep. She's like a year and a half old. It's hard to find time to make videos in general, just with life and having a kid. It's hard to make a video when you have someone who whines anytime you like leave the room. But she's asleep right now, so I figured I could try to make this. And I'm making this video because people have asked me to more than once. So, what are my thoughts on the changes that we have that are coming? Basically. So, first, I guess I will start by talking about the format because that's the bigger one to talk about. How there's the basically two formats. Ignore the G standard, like who cares? That's going away anyway. So the premium and the standard. Um, I think standard looks really effing boring, to be honest. If I'm gonna be blunt with how I feel about it, if you think standard would be more fun than premium, you must not enjoy being playing like a very strategic game. Like I don't think anyone actually asked for this reboot to happen. Uh, like I didn't hear anyone complaining about the game up until Bushiroad started bringing this up. It's like Bushiroad like gave them the idea that the game was like not in a good place. Like the meta is actually really good. One of the best metas I've ever seen in any game. Like you got like uh, Dark Face, Aqua Force, Overlord's falling down, but there was Overlord like, and then there's like all the new set 14 stuff, Darkness, Dominate, Gears, um, like Victor, Chaos. Like we have a really good healthy format actually. There's a lot of decks that can like do really well. Um, I don't know why you would think like the game. Like I could see someone. The only thing I could see an argument right now is I think some cards, specifically a card like Heritage, is kind of unfair. Heritage is ridiculous. Like Rene is a really good card, but you can at least like survive Rene like reasonably. It's almost impossible to get through a Heritage. Like you have to have like everything go really well for you. Um, but that brings up my next point. Like, why instead of like making two formats where one format just doesn't use all the new cards, why not just like be a little bit more liberal with like the way you guys restrict and ban cards? Like, why not actually just start doing that more often and doing it like if you guys said Heritage is banned, I would actually be fine with that. Anyone who knows me knows I love Gear Chronicle and I play it a lot. I would actually I wouldn't argue that. I'd feel like that was actually pretty fair. I don't think it would hurt the deck that much either. I mean, it would hurt the deck because it's a crazy card, but I think the deck could still be like a good deck without like having to rely on a skip your opponent's turn. Basically an auto win effect. You just have to put in more effort. Um, I think Victor is a little overpowered too. Like I think like this guy here probably should have been like once per turn. His effect is, or maybe twice per turn or something. Why don't they make twice a turn cards? Why isn't there a twice per turn like icon or something like that? Why is it always once per turn? This guy sets you up to Ferret Champ Second Stride like way too easily. That deck is really good. Even like on this, you can kill people. I That's what I think. Like, and as far as like people are like, well, what about like as Bushiroad was giving their explanation, they wanted to make the game more accessible to new players, and I, I don't think like what you're doing is the wisest way. Uh, if you wanted to make the game more accessible price wise, because our secondary market was like is like retarded. Um, why not do a lot of reprints? Why not do like a really big fire revival collection, or do like revival collections at least twice a year? That would help the secondary market like immensely. That would make people be able to afford to get in this game if twice, like if you did revival collections instead of fighters collections, like this game would be very affordable and lots more people would play it because they could afford it. People would build more decks because they could afford it. So there's that. As far as rules wise, I don't think I've ever heard someone complain about like the rules being how too difficult to get in. That there's too many mechanics. G guard and stride pretty much is all you really needed. It's not like people really use Breaker or Legion like almost ever. It's not really a problem. It's not really that much either, especially compared to any other game like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or etc. Like Pokemon, like they have all these other mechanics in their games too, and they're fine. Like, why would you think if those games have been around as long as they have and are still alive and are obviously never going away? Why would you try to do something like as jarringly different as like they have? Like, I mean, some people look at this as rotation, but it's not rotation. It's just a reboot. And here's a question. If they felt like now is the time to reboot because they feel like they've gone too far, all card games power creep. So what makes you think, Bushiroad, that somewhere down the line things aren't going to get to the point they are now, and you think there's another need for a reboot? Like, what's your plan? Just reboot whenever you think things have gone too far? Like, and if you think it's dumb to do it more than once, then why even do it once? Like, why? There's simpler ways to do this. All that said, I'm not that worried. You can still play premium. I think most people would. If you think standard's going to be more fun than premium, honestly, I think you're a little not too bright. It doesn't sound fun at all. The G Zone is the best part of this game. Looking at standard and stuff, like, it's going to be better than when the game started, but have you ever played a retro tournament? I've played, like, recently, like, pre-G tournaments where you can use everything up to Legion. I find that effing boring. Like, why would he want to go backwards? The more complicated the game is, the better. Like, it's a strategy game. The point of it is thinking and outplaying your opponent and stuff. Like, the more you have to that, the more skill that's involved. Like, why would you, like... Why? It just doesn't sound fun. That said, though, I'm not really, like, that worried. Like, if eventually premium is going to get phased out, like, I guess it could happen eventually anyways. Like, if they actually do make, like, the new cards good and fun, and they're power creep like the new triggers are, like, the old cards are going to get, like, power creeped out anyways. So what was the point of, like, not allowing the old cards if they were just going to naturally get power creeped out? I don't know. I do kind of like the idea of that there are triggers now that have different amounts of power, but I feel like Bushiroad's not smart enough to do it right. I feel like the right way to do that would be going forward. If you're going to make a trigger that can give plus 10k, the trigger should just be a vanilla. And then you can make triggers that only give 5k have really good effects. So then you have to make your choices of, do you want triggers with good effects, or do you want vanilla triggers with big boosts? And then it makes for more skillful gameplay. When now you win your guard, you have to be even more like smart about how you do it. Are they going to get a 5k? Are they going to get a 10k? I like the idea of that. Like, that makes it even more skillful when it comes to guarding. So I think that would have been cool. But yeah, that's a lot of my thoughts there. Yeah, I'm gonna play both. I'm really, really hoping that since they said they're doing regionals and worlds for both formats, that they put them on separate days. Like if premium will be on Saturday and standard's on Sunday, that would be perfect. If you have them running at the same time, that will really, really piss me off. Like, if you're gonna have more than one format, let me play both of them. Like, yeah, you better not mess that up, Bushiroad. Like, don't do that. If you can't, like, I feel like this could have been done so much smarter. I don't feel like there was even a need. You could even put like more rules into the game. I feel like, I guess, like put some kind of restrictions that make strides like not as easy to use or whatever. I don't know. Another thing for the new cards, like they buffed up the grade. They buffed up the stats of like everything. Like the grade 3s are bigger, the triggers are bigger, the shields are bigger. Why buff everything? I mean, if you buffed the triggers and other things in the vanguards, or in the rear guards and stuff in response to the vanguard becoming a 13, or let's say you were buffing the vanguard's base because you wanted to buff the triggers, whichever one came first. I say if they did A as a response or B as a response to A, why even do A in the first place? Couldn't grade 3s have stayed 11s? Couldn't triggers have stayed plus 5s? Couldn't they just stayed 10 shields? Like, why buff it all across the board? If you're buffing it across the board, you could have just not buffed anything and left everything the same. Unless your intent by buffing them is to just try and power creep out the old cards. If you're trying to power creep out the old cards by card design, then why do you need formats to do it? I don't understand that. This video is already 12 minutes long, but I got a lot of, like, I guess my opinions or thoughts out there. I'm not really worried about it. I'm still going to be playing this game anyways. Standard sounds really boring, as I'm going to keep mentioning, like, especially since when you're starting out with only 4 clans. So if you want to play, you have to play one of those, and then slowly we'll be getting the others, and we'll have really small card pools to work with, because each clan is only getting support once a year. Yeah, it makes it more fair across the board, but it means each clan has tiny card pools to work with, and you don't have as many options and stuff. Like, I mean, you could argue that, like, even in like premium, decks pretty much are the same anyways, but there's a little bit of tech and stuff, and sometimes someone comes up with something creative. Like when 7 Seas Rush was first made, like that was creative. By the way though, fuck that deck. I'm glad it's gone. I like the new rule on Stride. I like the new mulligan. It makes more sense. The new guard, all the new like rules of like gameplay sound pretty fine to me. Thought it was weird to get rid of stand triggers. If people, another thing about standard with the new gifts, I guess, people say they think the game is broken as is, but once you get to, like, let's say you just keep riding, let's say you could consistently ride grade 3 every turn, that's gonna start to get like ridiculous. Like once you have that many gifts built up for like Excel and Force, that's like crazy. Especially with like Force, because you can keep stacking power in one spot. Like it just sounds a little, I don't know. And if you can't rewrite a grade 3, like it sounds like your turns. If grade 3s tend to be like the new Alfred they showed, they only do things like when they're placed and stuff. If you can't write a grade 3, it sounds like your turns are going to be really boring. At least with Stride, you could have a 3 or Stride Power to do something. I don't know. But yeah, we're approaching 15 minutes. This is long enough. We were in my office, by the way. This is my office where I draw and mess with cards and stuff. Yeah, this is where I work, do things, art. Have some decorations. You can see, like, I have a trophy back there. Some whatever things, box from Egypt. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.